Hi everyone, it's Miss Chelsea with the Mount Holly Branch Library, and it is time for this month's Teen Book Talk. For this month, we are going with the theme of just new books. We've gotten a lot of new books in recently, so many that I've actually had to take out some of the older ones just to make room for some of the new ones. So I have three amazing titles that we're going to go over today, and I will go over the title, the author, the rating on Goodreads, the month and year that it was published, which of course will be this year because like I said, they are all new books. And then as I'm going over it, if you just look right down below, you will see the Twitter handle on how to follow these authors for any future news on upcoming books if that's something you're interested in. So let's go ahead and get started with the first one. Our first book is The Boy in the Red Dress by Kristen Lambert. It has a rating of 3.85 out of Goodreads and it came out in May of this year. So this is a historical fiction. It takes place in 1929 around New Year's Eve. So our main character is Millie, and Millie's aunt owns a speakeasy in the French Quarter called the Cloak and Dagger. And while her aunt is out of town, Millie is now in charge of running the show. And since it's New Year's Eve, everyone's out to celebrate, especially the star of the club, the Cloak and Dagger, who is the boy in the red dress, and his name is Marion. So Marion has a large fan base, and one night a young socialite comes into the club wielding a photograph of Marion and starts asking kind of strange questions. Millie just assumes that she's another fan. However, when her body is found crumpled in the courtyard, dead from an apparent fall off the club's balcony, all signs point to Marion and that Marion's the murderer. Millie, however, knows that he's innocent, but local detectives aren't very sure of that. So, as Millie tries to chase clues to prove Marion's innocence, her attention starts becoming divided between Olive, who is a waitress at the Cloak and Dagger, and Benny, who is a bootlegger who is trying to help her solve the case. The clock is ticking for Marion, and the truth of who the killer is more close to Millie than she thinks. So, it is a very nice mystery book that is also historical fiction, which we don't really get a lot of, I think, in YA, or not enough of. So it has a nice rating on it as well. So that is very exciting. So our next book is Watch Over Me by Nina LaCour. This book was rated 3.94 and came out in September, so just a few months ago. So Nina, we've covered one of her other books in one of our other book talks, and she does a lot of really good books. So with this one, she delivers a very emotional story with this book, and her main character is Mila, and Mila is very used to being alone, and she decides to take on this opportunity to go live in a very remote area where there are waves and flowers and, of course, ghosts. But she didn't know about the ghosts when she took on the opportunity. So she is newly graduated from high school and she's aged out of the foster care system. So she was offered a job and a place to stay at a farm on an isolated part of the California coast. So she immediately accepts because she is newly graduated. She is out of the foster care system. You know, she probably feels that her options are a little limited at this point. She hopes that she'll find a new home, a real home, and maybe make some friends. So the farm is a refuge, however, it is haunted by the past traumas of its young residents from the past, and Mila's own terrible memories start to, come to surface as she is dealing with these ghosts and dealing just being in this remote area. So I'm excited to read it just because it's by Nina, and I think that she is a wonderful author and she has a lot of great books out there. So it is definitely one that I am rooting for. So last but not least is probably the one that I am most excited about of these three, mainly because it's not one that I would typically read, but after reading the summary of it, I think it sounds great. So it is titled Hardwire by Lynn Vlahos, and it is a rating of 3.96, and it came out January of this year. So this is more of a contemporary sci-fi story, and I don't normally read a lot of sci-fi, but after reading the summary, I was pretty hooked on it. So this story is about a boy who might not be human. So his name is Quinn, and he grows up thinking that he is just a normal boy with an average life until one day he starts finding a trail of clues that have been left behind by his father, who he doesn't know a whole lot about. So after he starts, looking through the clues and he starts solving these puzzles that his father leaves for him, he wakes up. After he wakes up, he realizes that his world was more of a virtual creation, than reality. But in reality, he actually finds out that he is the first fully aware AI, artificial intelligence, in the world. And it is part of an experiment that is run by a group of scientists, including who he thought was his father. So as these scientists continue to study him, um, he starts to realize that he's in a waking nightmare constantly. So determined to control his own destiny, he finds allies and other teenagers his age and starts to plot his escape. So this book has been described as a contemporary rooted sci-fi that asks really big questions about humanity. And if you are a fan of Westworld and Black Mirror, this is probably a really good book for you to read. All right, guys, that is all we have for today. Make sure you keep a checkup on other virtual programs that we have coming up. I know that we'll continue with the Teen Book Talk and, probably some craft stuff. But if you have any questions or if you need clarity on anything, please feel free to give us a call, 704-827-3581. See you guys soon. Bye.